Hello, everyone, and welcome to SK Economics. Guys, I'm really sorry that I'm making this video after such a big gap. I was actually busy in some other commitments, so could not get enough time to record this video. Now, I hope that you guys have watched my previous video, in which the last video, in which I talked about, I discussed the questions asked from section A in the RBI TPR Phase 2 2022 exam. Now, in this video, we'll discuss the questions asked in section B. Now, guys, my aim is not to provide you the answers of the questions because, Indian economy questions are always kind of open-ended, and there are a number of ways in which you can write the answer. So there is no perfect way to write any answer, but we'll just see the questions asked, and perhaps if there is something some interesting thing that we observe in any question, so that we'll discuss. Now, I hope that you know that from section B, 5 questions are asked from Indian economy, and from section A, 5 questions are asked from the theory subjects of economics. And in total, you have to attempt 5 questions, so picking up at least 2 questions from each of these sections. Now, in section B, the first question was, "What do you mean by sustainable development?" Right? And then, what are the steps taken by India to fulfill the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030 in the fields of poverty, education, and health? Now, guys, I think it is a very generic question, I would say. So, what do you mean by sustainable development? Now, here again, there can be a number of ways to write what is sustainable development, but I would suggest that if you write the definition that is given by the United Nations, so that will certainly fetch you some extra marks, because United Nations itself has defined what is sustainable development. The famous definition that is it is that development which meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the needs of the future generation. So if you write that definition, and if you also mention that UN defines sustainable development as this, so I think definitely you'll get some more marks. And then steps taken by India. So guys, I hope I'm leaving this to you, that you guys can find out the steps taken by India in these three fields of poverty, education, and health. Now here, one thing that I can mention is that the impact of COVID also should be mentioned. Maybe in the conclusion or towards the end of the body of the answer, because certainly COVID has posed a negative impact on our progress in terms of the sustainable development goals. So some some few sentences on the impact of COVID on the steps taken by India in these fields. So that can be mentioned. Now, the second question: What is Indian concept of financial stability? Now, this is a very interesting question. Now, of course, financial stability, there are various ways in which you can define financial stability, but they are asking you, what is Indian concept of financial stability? Now, guys, this question, now you know that if you have watched my previous videos where I have discussed the past year questions asked in the phase two of DPR. So there we saw that RBI, usually they ask 1 or 2 questions from economic survey, right, in the section B, because in economic survey there is volume one, where some new ideas with respect to economy are discussed. So from there, RBI picks up 1 or 2 questions. But this time around, there was no volume one of economic survey. So quite naturally, RBI did not have enough material to ask from economic survey. So they had to look around for some other source, and then what is the best source to go. So that was their own reports, because before the exam there were a few number of reports which were released by RBI. For example, the annual report, the financial stability report, and then of course the monthly bulletins are always there. So this time, I think that this question they picked up from those reports. And if you see what is Indian concept of financial stability, so here you had to write how RBI defines financial stability. And if you see, so I found out this from one of the bulletins of RBI. So this is how RBI defines financial stability, because financial stability needs to be understood contextually. That is, with respect to India, what is financial stability? So 3 points they have mentioned. That is, it means ensuring uninterrupted financial transactions and maintenance of a level of confidence in the financial system amongst all the participants and stakeholders. And third, absence of excess volatility that unduly and adversely affects real economic activity. Right. So this is how India defines financial stability. So I think if you have written this, then certainly you will get some extra marks. Now, of course, you can define financial stability in a number of ways, but this is what RBI was asking. This is what I think. And then the second part of the question, that is the what are the current financial risks that India is facing with respect to the current global and geopolitical developments. Now, again, if someone is in constant touch of the news, if he or she is been reading newspaper, then definitely this the second part is not very difficult for them. But here again, if you write what you have read in newspapers, so yeah, certainly you can write some answer. But if you write what RBI has mentioned, so again, I will just take you to another report of RBI. So this is the financial stability report of RBI. This was released in June 2022. Now, if you see here, the chapter one specifically talks about the macro financial risk. Right. So here they have discussed in detail. Now I'm not going into the detail, what was the risk. So you can definitely, check out this report. But the thing is that if you write what is mentioned in this report, so definitely you will get some extra marks. Now, of course, in a more general way you can answer, but to get some more marks, you have to write what RBI thinks as the financial risks to the Indian economy. All right. Now, the third question. So, explain the role of women empowerment in the overall economic development process, and then mention four schemes undertaken by the Indian government for women empowerment. So, guys, again, this is a very recurring theme. I would say, women, issues relating to women. This is so common, in every other exam. These questions are asked. So, I think this is, and not that difficult question. So you must have prepared on the issues relating around women. So yeah, four schemes you had to talk about, and then the role of women empowerment in the overall economic development process. Now here, some facts that you can definitely mention, that the contribution of women in the Indian economy. So if you look at the woman labor force participation rate, so that is abysmally low. I think around 19% or something, and that is very low if we compare ourselves to the similar income level countries, similar per capita income level countries. So that thing, you can mention that, of course, that we are not really utilizing the true potential of our workforce, because if half of the workforce that a woman, if their participation is just 19%, so yeah, definitely that is a loss to the economy. So I mean, of course, you can write various points here. So just one point that I thought that I should mention. So this was a very general question, right? Now, question number 9: what has been the global experience for economic growth, poverty, and inequality? Now, again, guys, very interesting question. And now again, a general question, and you can write answer in different ways. Now, this is one resource that I found. This was a report by OECD. So guys, do check out this report. I will provide the link in the description of the video as well. There, specifically, they have discussed the effects of economic growth on poverty and inequality. So the thing is that definitely higher economic growth has led to you know reducing of poverty, but the same thing is not witnessed with respect to inequality. Basically, the picture is not that clear if we say that increased economic growth leads to decreased inequality. So that thing is still not clear, because that if you just take the example of India and China, so the last 2 decades, these two countries have witnessed tremendous economic growth, but such improvements have not been witnessed with respect to inequality. In fact, the inequalities have increased. So I think some points like those, you have to discuss here, and I would just suggest you to go through this document. This will really give you some good points to write on this question. Now, the second part of the ninth question. So, do you agree that rising unemployment in India is a bigger problem than maintaining high economic growth? Again, I would say that this is a repeated question, because uh, they have asked this question on unemployment a number of times in the past. If you remember, they have asked about the jobless growth. I think two times they have asked about jobless growth. So this is somewhat related to that. That is, Is unemployment a bigger problem than economic growth? So again, I would say this is also a very general theme, which is asked in many exams. So women is one, unemployment is one. So I hope that you must have prepared for this question. Okay, so now the last question. So this was short notes. You had to write short notes, and five options were given to you. So you had five choices, and you had to write short notes on any four. First was bad bank. So that bad bank was in news, and last year government also formed that a government bad bank, so to say. you know and then second was the global fiscal response to COVID-19. So again, you can write this, and here I think you have to mention that uh, maybe one or two points that how Indian fiscal response has been different from global fiscal response, because globally, uh, if you look at the developed economies, they have just pumped huge sums of money into the economy, but such was not the case with India. That is why Indian economy is in a much better space now with respect to inflation, specifically, if I say. Third, monetary developments in 2020-21. So I think definitely the different steps that RBI took during the COVID, and various steps. So decrease in the repo rate and the suspension of the IBC framework, and yeah, number of steps RBI took. So those you can mention here. Urban poverty elevation policies, so again, the government schemes and programs you can mention. Then impact of COVID-19 on credit delivery and financial inclusion. So I think you can write this one as well. So this was these were the five questions which were asked from Indian economy, and I think they were not difficult, but the thing is that you have to write what they actually want, because if you look at this question, the concept of financial stability, so you had to write this thing only, then only you will get some good marks. Yes, definitely average marks you will get, but to get some brownie points, to get some extra mileage, you have to write this, because that is what counts, guys. Because the competition is so stiff, it's so intense that you know one or two more marks, and then you can be in or you can be out. So yeah, so I hope that you got a certain idea that what are the questions which were asked and what can be asked in future as well. So now let us just look at the learnings that we can take from this year's phase 2. So guys, if you look at this year's phase 2, phase 1 was very unconventional, I would say. I would not say that it was difficult. It was unconventional, because they asked questions from finance. Question on CAPM was asked, and which was really unexpected. No question was asked from growth theories. Mundell Fleming model, one of the most favorite questions of RBI. They did not ask that. They did not ask that this time around. ISLM, they asked a numerical on ISLM. I mean, that is meant for phase 1, but anyways, like they asked it in phase 2. So phase 1, I would say, phase 2, section A, I would say that it is highly unpredictable. So you cannot really prepare for section A. Yes, definitely, you give your best, you prepare whatever you can, but a lot depends on your luck, right? So observing this, I would say that phase 1 is the most important thing, because phase 1 definitely you can score more, right? If you practice enough, if you have covered the material, because that there will be questions from statistics, there will be questions from econometrics, there will be many questions from micro, right? There is not that much of an uncertainty in phase 1, right? So phase 1 is the most important according to me. And then if we talk about phase 2, so improving the section B of phase 2 can put you in a safe zone. Yes, if section 1 goes well as well, then it's a bonus. But even if section 1 does not go that well, if you prepare section B good enough, so then that can definitely put you in a safe zone. So a good phase 1 and a good section B of phase 2, I think definitely um, you will pose a strong case for the interview, because section B you can somewhat prepare, because as I discussed, that there are some recurring themes. For example, women, unemployment, poverty, inequality. So these, if you can prepare, so definitely you can answer 3 out of 5 questions from section B. But of course, target should be to answer 3 from section A, because section A is more scoring. Usually section B is not that scoring, because again, uh, No answer can be perfect, in the case of Indian economy. So there will be some room for the instructor to cut out marks in section B. But now, having said this, the most important that I would say is descriptive English, because you just cannot ignore descriptive English, because this is uh, literally free. Like, you just have to prepare précis reading comprehension and then essay, nothing else. And you can easily get above 65 marks in descriptive English if you have practiced well enough. So if you can score 65 above in English and a good or rather an excellent phase 1, then definitely you are in for the interview. Because if you get anywhere around 55 to 60 in the economics paper and above 65 in descriptive English, then definitely you should be in the interview. So I think uh, an equal emphasis should be given for descriptive English when you are preparing for phase 2. All right, guys. So this is it for this video. I hope that you liked my analysis for this year's exam. I've also discussed the past years, the questions asked in the past years of the phase 2. So please do check those videos as well. And also, I have discussed the phase 1 as well, the questions asked in phase 1 of this year's exam. So guys, please do check out those videos as well. And if you like my video, then please just hit that like button, and then any comments or any suggestions that you want to give, so please do write down those as well. All right, then, thank you for watching the video. Goodbye.